for those of you who don't know, this is Juli James. She's an educator as well as a co-founder of an education technology called Playable Media. And today she'll be talking to us about platforms for delivering online content, which is kind of a continuation of the previous Lunch and Learn that she did last month. So Juli, I'll go ahead and spotlight your video.
Ooh, yay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Maddie. Yes, I'm Juli James, and I am the co-founder and managing director of Playable Media. At Playable Media, we create online learning for businesses to increase engagement and connection with their employees, customers, and new audiences. I'm also passionate about empowering anybody who would like to create an online course and create good learning to be able to do that, whether you need services like ours or not. So let's see here. Get this.
Let me make sure your screen share.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait.
You should be good.
Screen. There we go. Share. Here we are. And present. Here we go. Can everybody see this?
Yes, looks good.
Oh, wait, but we're not at the beginning.
No.
So starting from here, back at the beginning. If you don't know me or you weren't here for our last session, I'm Juli James. I started my career in journalism, and in the past 10, 15 years, I've turned toward education. I'm a journalism educator. I'm an educational technologist. I am a designer of learning and learning games, and an entrepreneur. I've co-founded 2 companies, the first of which is Playable Media, and the other one, a small ed tech company called Wildcards, where we created STEM electronics for early learners. And I'm no longer a part of Wildcards, but I was really excited to be a part of them getting started. So I always like to hear who's here. Some of you I recognize from before, but why don't we all go around and introduce ourselves just so everybody else can get to know each other if you perhaps don't know each other. I guess I will call you since I can see your name down the line. I think that will make it a little bit easier. Maddie?
Yeah, so I'm Maddie. I'm the hospitality, I'm unmuted. Yes, I'm unmuted. I'm the hospitality and events coordinator at Stoke. So I kind of put together these events, and lovely people like Juli agree to do them. And we bring you great content. So that's my role here, and I'm always happy to listen and learn along with y'all.
Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I live in Denton, and I'm working on some creativity type online lessons.
Cool. And Michael Winters. I think you're still muted. Yep.
Michael Winters and Kelly Penrod. He went to go get a shirt on.
I appreciate it.
We are working on online classes. So Donna Durbin invited us to join, so we're appreciative of that and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Thanks for being here. Lacey?
Hi there, I'm Lacey. I am Stoke's marketing and member coordinator. So everything online goes through my hands and eyes, and the wonderful events that Maddie organizes, I help market and promote. And I take care of our Stoke members as well. That's
Awesome.
me.
Thanks, Lacey. And then I have someone with no video, and the screen says Sam on it.
Hi. In the Midwest, currently unemployed, and I've done a few PowerPoint presentations through work in my past life. Just wanted to see what I could learn through this one.
Cool. Thanks for being here. And then Donna.
I'm glad you're putting this on.
Thanks. Cool. Donna?
Hi, I'm Donna. I am still getting dressed. but I didn't want to miss any of the video. The last time I heard you, you were so filled with great information that I told Kelly and Michael about it. And it's not necessarily a sales job. It's actually practical information. So I'm delighted to be here, and I will turn on my video in a few minutes.
Awesome. Take your time. Thanks for being here again, Donna. It's good to see you, and for bringing friends.
Yeah, it's great.
So let me see.
Looking forward to it.
So as I said last time, right, creating an online course isn't hard. There's plenty of online learning out there to choose from, but creating good online learning can be a challenge. And the last time we talked about this, I mentioned things like, you know, jumping into a course or something that you're interested in only to find really boring long walls of text to read, and watching video clips that just go on forever and you're not quite sure what the point is, or even just being stuck in the middle of something and really not knowing how long it's going to take you from start to finish. All of these things can make for really uncomfortable, unengaging learning experiences, even if the content is amazing, right? So it has a lot to do with the presentation and how to structure learning for people. So like we say at Playable Media, we want to help you to be able to create your online courses and create good learning, and you need the right tools. And so we're here to empower small businesses, entrepreneurs, startups to be able to do that, so they can do better business. And we offer you know, full service online course creation for people who are ready to just focus on what they do best. We can do the other part, but we also you know, just want to support people creating good online learning in the spaces that they're passionate about. So today we're going to talk about platforms. Last time I talked about, you know, designing your course with the end in mind. And so that was really when we were talking about, you know, structuring the online learning, creating your outline, and thinking about your lessons and how they were all going to contribute to the overall learning experience. And one of the important parts of that learning experience is the platform that you choose to deliver the learning. And that also kind of goes hand in hand with the end in mind, because the platform that you choose is going to structure a lot of that experience in addition to how you present the content. So there's so many learning management systems, course delivery systems, ways to present learning online, but I'm going to go through a couple of these that I have on the list today. So, you know, so we'll start by talking about like how you can just get MVP Learn up on your website, whether you want to print that for free or offer a paid option. MemberVault is a platform that we use at Playable Media to create courses that we deliver, and it has a really awesome free feature, you know, like free to get started, and you can get really far on MemberVault with their free tier. Thinkific likewise has a free tier, and then something like WordPress plus a learning management system plugin like LearnDash, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get to that. Those that kind of option, WordPress or even Moodle, as you see on this list, they both can be lower cost, but they tend to be higher on the, you know, on the maintenance part, if that's something that you are interested in doing more or less of, right? That's something that to know. And then other options like Teachable, Kajabi, and Mighty Networks all are, they don't have so much a free tier, but they're really rich full service platforms to deliver online learning, and many more. So we'll start with, you know, like I mentioned, you can start with your website. This is our website. You can throw some online course content and basically create a minimum viable product of your course, right? The MVP, just to get your idea out there and to test it. It's fairly easy on most systems to create a password protected page. And then you can have people opt in, sign up, word of mouth, and let them have that password and go through the content and give you feedback quickly. So this is the kind of thing you can do when you have, you know, maybe your course outline in 1 or 2 lessons and you just want to put it in front of some eyes. That kind of experience is one of those things that's like priceless, to get the feedback of someone with fresh eyes going through your course and letting you know, their initial thoughts and their reactions to that learning experience. You can also do that password protected page and add a shopping cart on your website, or through something like Eventbrite or one of these event management systems where then you can have someone pay and then you give them that password. An example of a studio in town that does something similar, or at least did something similar a while back when I last talked to them, was Wildflower Art, and they offer their courses. And to just get stuff up fast and quick, especially in response to COVID early this year, they chose to go with their own website and just add that learning and get it out there. And they were really successful in doing that. Let's see here. Oops. And then MemberVault is a platform that sort of bills itself as not only a course delivery system, but a member management system, right? So if you have a community, or if you're wanting to build a community around the kinds of learning that you're offering, MemberVault is one of those spaces that's a great place to start. You can offer sort of a free member hub that's, you know, that you can build out almost like the course system, where you can give people access to free content, but in a way that is more exclusive, right? And sort of brings them into a community where you can get feedback and build on what the community has to offer you as well. Likewise with MemberVault, you can offer the courses. Like I was saying, you can just build out a full course and learning system. You can build out a full school this way, really, online if you want to. And so here's their pricing structure and the features. Their forever free feature is really rich and a great way to get started. You can create unlimited courses. It comes with all the features of MemberVault. You get some support, and in fact, their Facebook group is all the support I've needed ever since we started using them, because it's so helpful and warm. They've done that job of building that community around people who use MemberVault. And it's capped at 100 people, but that, for when you're getting started with offering online courses, that's a great place to start, to be able to offer a lot of courses to a good amount of people before you have to go to a paid tier. And then so on and so forth. They have monthly tiers with more or less support and features. And then they even have things like lifetime tiers and some different things that offer you know, more features on a bigger scale, if that's something that you're interested in doing. And I keep clicking off of this. This is what one of our courses in MemberVault looks like, just so you can kind of see what a user would see when you're. So this is one of our mini courses that we're kind of walking through creating, and the lesson pages, right? So this happens to be the landing page for the course, but lesson pages look fairly similar. Rather than having an image, you can have an image if it's something that's part of your lesson. You can also, MemberVault plays really well with things like YouTube and Vimeo. So you can have your video up here or your slideshow up here, and then some learning content at the bottom. And the navigation for MemberVault is over here on the right. So the learner can see, whoops, all the modules that come up. So modules are, I think we talked about this last time, the equivalent of units or topics, right? And then lessons are the sub pages within them. So the learner navigates the system over here on the right, and they can go, once they click into the lessons, then they can navigate lesson to lesson, and it will take them to the next module. But also, if they want to jump around and see what else there is, they can navigate the modules that way. Thinkific is the other, is another one of them that has a pretty rich free trial, or not trial, but free membership tier. And so you can start with Thinkific and create this. There's less about community, although you can totally build community around Thinkific, and more about sort of the conventional way I think that we experience online courses. They have the same as MemberVault, they have the free tier. You can create 3 courses, and you have unlimited students in this scenario. So you can create free courses or paid courses, and you're not capped at the student experience or at the number of students, rather you're capped at the number of courses. But again, that's still a really rich way to get started, especially if you have a few ideas you're testing, and say, you know, you have 2 versions of a course that you want to sell, and maybe, or 2 different audiences. And so you just want to see the response on those various courses. Thinkific is a great way to get started with that kind of thing. And then, you know, and then they have a rich number of core features that they offer where you're going to have a lot of course interaction, you're going to have a lot of ways that you can structure learning and that kind of thing. And so here is an example, of what a course looks like. In fact, the game design challenge, I just have some placeholder content here because we're still building out this example on Thinkific. But if you've ever taken a course online, many of them look just like this. And the navigation is on the left, and you can see the modules, like it says start here, making a game, finishing, and you can see those lessons within modules. Thinkific lets you structure your content in various ways. So if you know you have a slideshow as a lesson, it's going to have a template that's specific to presenting that slideshow in a great way. If you know you have a video that's a lesson, right? So your module can contain these multiple things and written content as well. And Thinkific offers you templates that are going to let you present that material in an ideal way for that kind of learning. And then WordPress. So if you're familiar with WordPress, WordPress powers something like 33% of the internet, right? There's so many sites that are built on WordPress. And WordPress has two sort of solutions. One is WordPress.com, which is sort of the hosted solution where you can jump in and kind of just build your site, and then you pay WordPress if you want hosting and more features. And then there's WordPress.org, where if you're hosting your own site yourself, you can install WordPress, and it's highly flexible, highly extendable. And there's a lot of learning management, learning experience plugins. Plugins are part of the extendability to WordPress that you can choose from. Now, the thing about this option, right, Playable Media has built courses on WordPress, we've built websites on WordPress, but we happen to be at a place where we don't want to be doing a lot of the maintenance that WordPress requires. And some people don't mind that. Their websites are already on WordPress, so it makes sense to use this option. Perhaps they have a developer that does the WordPress maintenance for them. But it's just important to know that while you get so much flexibility and extendability with WordPress, it comes at like a time cost of maintaining the site in the back end. One of the free learning management system plugins that you can get with WordPress that basically offers those templates and those lesson formats and things like that to make WordPress into a learning management system is LearnPress. So LearnPress is free, and you can install that into your WordPress and basically start building out your courses, or start building out your school if that's a direction that you want to go. And then LearnPress offers paid tiers for things that you might want to add on to it. And this is an example, really straightforward, a lot like Thinkific, of what a course looks like inside of WordPress using a LearnPress plugin. So this comes right from the LearnPress examples. And so here's a course that they've built out where you can see the status of lessons completed, the overall results of the learning, if you've had assessments and those kinds of things in your course. And then, it shows you, again, you have modules or units and you have lessons, right? There's some things about delivering learning or delivering online learning that are just not going to change. While the terminology might change, right? The structure of it is always going to be something similar to this. And then you have the content area where you can build out, the videos, the slideshows, the content for your learner. So one of the questions that comes up frequently is, what happens if I start on one platform or with one solution and then I end up wanting to switch? So something like going with your website to get something up quickly, but then wanting to scale forward into a learning management system that's specific for that. Or something like starting with MemberVault and then wanting to switch to Thinkific or Teachable because they offer features that MemberVault doesn't, right? Or vice versa. And so that's why course design matters, right? And so in my last session, Introduction to Online Courses, I talked about how to structure the planning and the outline for your course, and how to structure the planning and content development for the lessons in your course, and why that matters. Because if you have that content set up for you in such a way that it's easy to maintain it, it's easy to revise it and iterate on it, it also makes it easier to transfer it to another system if you end up deciding that you wanted to switch. And finally, before we get to questions and discussion, I just wanted to put a plug in for our October session, where I will be going through using tools for creating content for your course. So we will talk about tools for video, tools for slideshows, learner activities, assessments, and so sort of all of those things, what kinds of interactions and tools that you can use to create that kind of interaction in your course. And the whole series will have resources, just like this one has some resources and some links that will all go back into the folder that Stoke can send out to attendees so that you can go through and review it, as well as looking at the slides and the presentation from our last session. So I think that wraps up what I have to say about platforms, but now I'm ready for questions, discussion. And if there's a platform that I didn't mention here, because there are so many, and that's something that you used or you've looked at, I would love to hear about that as well. So now we're back to Madi.
You want me to go ahead and stop your screen share?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if y'all want, I like to go to the gallery view. It's in the top right corner of your Zoom window. That way you can see everybody's video at once. So it's it feels a little bit more like a normal conversation, right? We do have a couple questions. So Donna, we do have a YouTube channel. I'll put it in the chat of our past, lunch and learns, coffee and combos and everything like that. So I'll put that in the chat soon. And then Michael, you had a question as well. I'll let you ask it. You're muted.
Yep. Okay. So you're giving us a lot of information really quick, but especially on those first platforms of like Teachable versus all these others, is there any resource that kind of has that in columns, what you get with this, what you get with this, in terms of just, it's kind of overwhelming to say, oh, just choose one of these 17 options. How do we go about kind of looking at what our needs are in more depth than you could do in this video to look at that? Are there resources for that?
I've seen resources, but many times what I see are particular services kind of showing you the pros and cons of their service against one or two other services. I haven't seen something comprehensive, but your question makes me realize that perhaps we need to put something like that out there. You will have access to these slides, and so you can kind of go through and click and look at the various options. And I think you were asking about whether we could talk later. I'd be happy to discuss that in depth more with y'all. Just based on specifically what is it that you're trying to do, and then offer you some options, to narrow down the playing field where you can just look at 2 or 3 that might work well.
Yeah, and to make sure that, we've got certain ideas, but we're not sure what it's like to actually build a class because we haven't done it yet. So to, kind of pick your brain about what else we need to be focused on.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's what we love to do. So please, my email, I think I put on here privately, but and the slides have our website and our email. So my email, I'm just going to post right here. And our website is, and you can email me, you can go fill out the contact form on our website. All of it, kind of comes back to me anyway. And we can, carry on this conversation specific to what your needs are. Donna?
Yes, I was just curious on those slides. It looked like they were hot links to each one of the programs.
Yep.
So that would be good to be able to go back and look at. And I use Rizuku. I've been using Rizuku for about 4 years now. And it is a content-based platform. They don't really, you have to market your own courses, but they don't take, it's a yearly subscription. They've got a couple of different options. I've been paying for it for about 4 years, but so I got in a good deal because they did a course building workshop to get introduce it, and they don't take any percentage of your member, people that join in. So I found it to be pretty good. It was overwhelming to get started because of all of the technology, the pieces, and now it's gotten much easier for me to go in and copy a course and change lessons or add it or whatever. But it is a lot of pieces to set up everything, and I'm doing all videos. Mine's a video based course, so it's you learn lots.
You do.
Learn lots.
You learn a lot. Member Vault also does not take anything off the top.
Okay.
The only thing that might affect you there is if you use a particular commerce system that does like PayPal or Stripe or something like that. So it just kind of depends on how you have that connected. But
yeah, I think Rizuku uses Stripe and PayPal, but I like Stripe better because they have better record keeping and give you better reports. PayPal makes it really hard to track who's done what or whatever, so it's really hard. So, but yeah, thanks.
I had a thought, Michael, you were just talking about having to compare all of the different platforms. I'm the same way. It's just overwhelming for me, and I can't keep it straight in my head at all. Going back to Julie's last Lunch and Learn session last month, I guess maybe work backwards, look at your course, what you're wanting to accomplish, and maybe make a 3 or 5 bullet priority list of what you want, whether that's like unlimited students or, like Donna's saying, not having the platform like take any percentage. So maybe work backwards. That might help a little bit.
One of the things I will say about Rizuku is that you can set an appointment with someone and they will get on the phone with you and walk you through whatever issue. They have a really, really great customer service. You don't just have to do chats or whatever. That's part of their benefit of they really sell themselves as a customer service based platform.
That would be the other piece to me is, whatever is going on my end, I want it to be extremely user-friendly. I'm looking at developing courses for people starting in retirement. So they're not necessarily the most technologically up-to-date. So want this, whatever service it is, to be extremely easy and user-friendly.
That's good to know. So when we talk about this a little bit more, I'll make sure that that what we end up looking at, what y'all can end up looking at, will sort of meet some of those needs, especially with that one on top.
Anyone have any questions, comments? I'm curious to hear more about, like Michael, you just explained what you guys are working towards. I'm curious to hear from other people what kind of platforms they're looking at building.
I did have a question. Julie, do you have a recommendation on a platform that is good for scheduling, doing the pre-recorded lessons, but also scheduling live lessons, like a Calendly kind of built-in type thing, or?
They do live sessions with Member Vault. That's not something that I have done in the past. And then Teachable, I think they have a free trial, but it's like 2 weeks or something like that. So you might want to look into that. Teachable has added a lot of coaching features that, that add the features for live sessions, live calls, live webinars, and those kinds of things. So I think I would take a look at Teachable if I were you. And then, you know, then it becomes a budget versus, you know, versus goals and that kind of thing. But I will take a look at Member Vault because this has come up, and I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'll contribute again. I just launched my 6th launch of the course that I teach, and I teach accent reduction and American English pronunciation to non-native English speakers, professionals. And so this last launch, I had 11 people sign up, and I do, they have lessons that come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we do a live webinar on Sunday. And this program, actually, you schedule in your webinars. And so it extends them a reminder 2 days in advance and then an hour in advance. But I use Zoom because I want to have that face-to-face contact with mine. But there also there's an option to do like just webinars that you would play and they put in the chat, but you don't have a chance to actually see the person. So I waited until I could do Zoom so that and then I upload those after they're recorded into the course after they're done. So they also provide a lot of really customer service for the students that are in the course. You can contact them and they will walk them through. I'd have them doing a lot of recordings and uploading recordings and stuff like that. But I found that it's I don't know, I haven't tried the others yet. I just kind of stuck it out with this one, and it took me 2 years of paying it before I finally called and said, I cannot figure this out. And then they told me, that's what we're here for. We want to help you walk through this. And I mean, I know the person personally now because I might call 2 or 3 or 4 times a week and set an appointment and have them walk me through. And once I finally learned I could do that, it's like, I just was able to finally overcome the fear of like, okay, there's so much. So anyway. So I will encourage everybody to do
service
it.
is priceless also, for sure.
Well, it's been very empowering to have this, especially having started it a year ago. So it's great, and it really, the same repeated things I have to teach my clients over and over again is a way to have them practice. And they admitted they never practiced. So it's kind of a way to help them make it as a habit. So the feedback's been good. So that's been great.
Cool. So Lacey asked in the chat, which of the platforms that I mentioned today have the best customer service support? And, you know, I didn't get any kickbacks from Member Vault. I just really like them.
You cut out for just a second. You cut out for just a second. Could you repeat? It kind of cut out when you said Lacey's question.
Was that when I said Lacey's question? Okay,
Yeah.
So Lacey's question is, which of the platforms mentioned today have the best customer service or support? So I was saying, right, I don't get any kickbacks from Member Vault. There's nothing like that. You know, we don't have that kind of a relationship with them. We just use their services and build on the Member Vault platform for clients. Their community and their customer support is excellent. Donna's mentioning the Rizuku, and clearly their customer support is also excellent. So, and I know I've been able to get so many of my questions answered just by going through their Facebook group and doing a search. Their members answer each other's questions and offer support, and the owners are on there interacting with us and giving us information and support. So personally, that works really well for me. And I know a lot of people who have, you know, used their calls for support. They run, similar to what Donna was talking about, they run sessions on getting started with Member Vault, using this feature of Member Vault, all of those kinds of things. So, and speaking of the reminders and some stuff like that, you know, Brittany, to what you were talking about, in Member Vault, you can really customize some workflows for your course. And so when a learner takes a particular action, say signing up for a webinar, you can make sure that there are some of those reminder emails, you know, the links and all of that kind of stuff that will just send it all for you so you don't have to think about it. So some of that is there too.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else have, yeah, more Lacey, thank you, Lacey. Do you know which No, just kidding. Great point. Having a community to connect to that uses particular platforms would be on my pro-con list. I think I'd also look into whether or not there are tutorials on how to best use the platform. I really benefit from like the videos of the person using the website instead of having to read the directions and match that up to what I see on the screen. That helps me as well.
I think WordPress has so much out there. Again, it's almost to a fault that it will feel less personal, because, you know, if you're using various plugins and they're developed by different people and all of that kind of stuff, it can be easy to kind of get lost in that. Although they do have great support documentation. MemberVault has, you know, all the support that I just mentioned, and platforms like Thinkific, Teachable, and some of those other ones will sort of, you'll go into your dashboard and like the tutorial course of how to make a course is structured in a course. So you're really going through navigating the authoring tools and navigating the dashboard, and, you know, and then getting what you need to know about each thing right when you get to it. So it's not as overwhelming.
San, so these sessions, this kind of, my notepad, this chunk of lessons that Julie's been doing, it's a once a month program called the Lunch and Learns. We do have weekly coffee and convos that are restarting next week, where we have a mentor, and Julie's normally one of the mentors, who are just there for you to ask questions. Sometimes they have some, you know, tips or a discussion planned, but definitely check those out. And those can also be found on our YouTube, some of the past ones. And those are on Tuesdays, the coffee and combos. And then we have one from Michael. Michael, would you like me to read it?
It might be easier to explain it.
Okay.
I've got an assessment that I've made, and the way the assessment works right now is if you fill it out online, you can get a 7-page report back. But what I'd like to do is make that more customizable for an individual. So it's a course actually. But if you select, say, item A from a list, A through C, then you would get module A, but you don't need B or C because that isn't fit to you. So that everything, this kind of flow chart, and you get a customizable class that's just for you, and you're only seeing the videos that are needed for you. But I would imagine there might be some platforms that could do that kind of work more easily than others. Does that make sense? Is that a thing that other people do?
It makes a lot of sense. And there are any number of ways of going about that, right? So, but it's absolutely can be done in more than one platform. So again, I'm really just looking forward to hearing more about like your specific project, what you've been working on, you know, what you have available, and then how you want it to work out, so that we can figure out which platform is really gonna be what you need. But so many of them have features that will let you customize, you know, workflows or actions that will respond to something like what you're talking about, an assessment that would then send or give access to, you know, A, B, or C version of the course. Definitely.
Great.
Lacey, sorry if I missed this, but did you rank the platforms that you listed from beginner friendly, completely new to developing online learning, to expert ready, someone who has been developing online courses for a long time?
Kind of. I went by, in this particular set of slides, I went by kind of, you know, what's the fast and dirty way to get something up on a system you already know, which is your website, to MemberVault and Thinkific, which have rich resources for new people getting started, and then also are on the cheaper or free end of things to get started. And then I think then it was WordPress and Moodle, which are more complicated. They don't have to be expensive, but can be, but they're, you know, they're they're probably more along the expert line, or if you're already familiar with WordPress, like if your site is already on WordPress or something like that, I listed some at the bottom that I really didn't get into, but they are more expensive. Something like Kajabi is, full service from start to finish, creating your course, hosting your site, having your email list, member networks, sales, marketing funnels, all of that kind of thing. So Kajabi has so much there. A lot of people use it and really like it, but then again, it's like cost and are you at the point that you need those features, right? So it's kind of ranked like that.
Awesome, that was a good question. The train's going in the back, so I'm trying to mute carefully.
But I can see even from Michael's comment to this question, having like a really nice, simple database that you can kind of put in, where do I get started? It give you some things. This is my budget. It would give you some options, or like Lacey was saying, like beginner to advanced, and it would give you some options. So I think we need to put something like that out there.
I can see that being really helpful. I was having to find an insurance about a month ago, and it was how this sounds. Just a lot of comparing in separate tabs, and just trying to find one spreadsheet where I can check off what I need. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Julie? Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
But can I ask, on the platform that's using this, is there a way to find what classes and other sessions that you have?
So earlier in the chat, if you scroll up, there's a link to our YouTube channel. So on Zoom, we record these sessions, then we upload them to our YouTube. We have a few of them that we need to upload, but more will be coming. But there's still plenty, like a pretty big library for you to go through if you'd like.
And then I have a folder of resources.
And Julie, awesome. You are so knowledgeable.
Thank you. Thank you. This just happens to be, well, what we do, and I do it because I love it. So, we all know of the particular nerds and the particular spaces we're really into. This is my space. But also, Madi, if you would I have that Google Drive folder that has the resources from the last session and the slides from the last session, and I'll put these slides in there as well if you'll email that out to attendees.
Yes, definitely.
I think that would be helpful. And then Stan, you'll be able to go back and see some of that in conjunction with the video on the YouTube channel.
And I'm reposting that YouTube link. There we go. Let me know if that works. Lacey mentioned a few comments ago for guests who arrive post start time, if you wouldn't mind maybe running through the slides again, or if we want to keep discussing, like you said, we do have the that Google Drive folder that you just mentioned.
Well, I think Sue, you jumped in a little bit after we started. Do you have any questions? Would you like to look at the slides?
I would love to look at the slides, please, and any of the information would be fantastic.
Okay.
But I think when you come late, you can't go back on the chat and see. So, yeah. So any information, anywhere to access it. I apologize for coming late. Yeah.
No problem. I'm glad you're here. So thank you for coming. And if you are done, right, I won't be insulted if you jump out and go start working on your online classes, or send me an email. Send me an email with some of your questions, or if you want to chat more anytime. So
I've got a quick question. I know that I think I found you through Meetup or Eventbrite. I'm not sure how I originally found you, but do you have a newsletter that you send out with your upcoming classes, or do we have to?
Well,
is that what you use that to access? To build your email list?
If you go to stokedenton.com and sign up for their newsletter, the sessions that I do specific for Stoke, you'll hear about, plus all of their other awesome sessions and resources for entrepreneurs, small business owners. I mean, like, it runs the gamut of support for everyone. And so if I'm doing anything for Stoke, it'll come through that. If you go to our website, there's the contact form that you can fill out. And then also at the very bottom, there's a newsletter sign up link where you can just, put in your email address and click on that. So
perfect. And Lacey just put the link in the chat to the Stoke newsletter. All right, anybody have any other questions, comments?
This is great you're doing this. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really good.
Do you know much about membership sites, membership courses? Like monthly, where they pay monthly and then you come in and, have like I've started one that just we have live webinars twice a month and it's just started. So I'm building the course kind of as I get their feedback and adding resources into it as it's growing.
So Member Vault lets you do that kind of pricing, and you can set up, membership space or course space that will let you do that kind of stuff. Mighty Networks is another one, and they are about the membership space and growing your community and that kind of thing. I haven't used that. I only just my partner emailed me and she said, hey, take a look at this one. I believe it's Mighty Networks is a woman founder as well. So, so we're always looking for supporting women in technology and in the space that we're in as well. So, and they had that as well as online course features and community features and that kind of thing. So.
Do you have a favorite podcast or anything that you listen to stay motivated and excited about things? I have to admit, I started listening to Jacques Hopkins, the online course guy. And that's what got me finally motivated, because he had all these success stories and he had, different tips and tools. And that's how I started kind of educating myself about this. And so I just was curious whether you had any favorites that you use.
In terms of being a woman in a creative industry, Happier in Hollywood is my top favorite podcast.
Happier in Hollywood?
And it's two screenwriters who are partners, right? And they talk about, being specific to the Hollywood creative industry, but then they also really break it out. And I found so much just from listening to them that applies to my life. They're moms, entrepreneurs and just great women that I've been following for a long time. Trying to think of what else. If you want to get super nerdy about learning and learning sciences, I like Course of Mind by, it's the ISTE is an International Society for Technology Educators, I believe, and I'm a member of ISTE, and Course of Mind has been really great to just sort of understand some more learning science, right? Or think about it and apply it and what works and what doesn't in learning. Oh my goodness, what else is there? Now I gotta look.
I'm still curious about the other people on here, whether you've made courses or not, like Sue or Lacey or Son or Brittany. Are you just getting started? Or I know Kelly and Michael, so I know what's going on with them. But the other ones.
Oh, tell us what's going on with Kelly and Michael. What's going on with you, Donna? It sounds, yeah. So it'd be interesting to know.
Well, like I said, I teach accent reduction and American English pronunciation to international professionals. Most of them, I used to teach ESL, but I recognize that the academic programs do not help them with their speaking. And so I've started specializing in just helping them modify their foreign accents so that they're more easily understood and they gain in self-confidence because they can speak more clearly.
Okay.
So that I found that fascinating. And then I've started a course called English for Interviews, because I had so many of my clients that have lost their jobs or have difficulty with interviewing, getting past that interviewing stage. to getting a job. They have wonderful technical skills, but their language, have a barrier with their accents. So that's what I've been specializing in for the last 10 years, I guess. And the last 4 years, I've been in business for myself. Broke away from the University of Houston and started my own company with just focusing on that. So it's been an interesting journey.
That's so interesting. So just to be clear, this is about a model of American, of speaking American English, not British English, right? Okay.
Right.
Like a neutral American accent, whatever that is.
Right. Because I joke with them, we all have accents. I have an accent, right. But I just want you to be able to communicate clearly enough so that people understand you. And most of them get frustrated and they silence their own voices because after they have to repeat themselves multiple times, they get discouraged, and then people don't ask them to repeat anymore, or they lose that ability to speak up for themselves. So that's what I try to work on.
Cool. That's a really good service, definitely, to be offering.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just getting started with making a variety of online courses for making. So called the Making Times, because I'm sure it's probably the same there, but a lot of people have really struggled here mentally, psychologically, with being anxious and feeling not connected and all sorts of things. And I have found I found a lot of solace in making and creating and slow stitch and all sorts of areas of making. And so I wanted to create community and courses as a business. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're definitely, I feel like that's a worldwide theme right now, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely a service to people just getting through the day.
Yeah, and everybody's mad for embroidery and cross stitch, right? Well, a section in the UK they are anyway. But I think it's as well, yeah.
My course is from Michael. So mine is about helping people, what I call a call to growth for people who are dealing with addiction.
Okay.
And, having it structured, a course that's designed just for them, kind of doing an assessment on what's going on for them and then building it around their own special skills that they need to have supported.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Awesome.
Kelly's being very modest. She is one of the most creative people I have ever known. And so,
Cool.
yes, I'm always encouraging her and Michael they're both very creative in lots of different avenues and ways. And so to put their knowledge and their love out there is something that I keep encouraging them to do online classes.
Well, I'm loving the wall. Loving it.
It's nice.
That wall is a call. It's an ode to the trees, and there's the. I don't know if you can see the bird. I gotta move the chair.
Turn this way.
I see.
See the bird?
Yep. It's cardboard, people. It's cardboard.
Cardboard, paper mache, all kinds of stuff. So
that's great.
We have another question in the chat for Julie. What's the hardest / best lesson you learned from when you first started? That's from Sam.
The hardest lesson, I get really excited about what I do and the things that I'm into. And even when someone wants to learn something about that space, they don't always want to learn it to the degree that I am interested in talking about it. So that was something I kind of had to learn and evolve and mature as an educator and an online course designer. But that was a really good lesson for me to learn, right? Because as an educator, I want to meet a student where she is and be of service to her education and her future. So if I'm getting all lost in what I'm interested in, that's not really, that mechanic doesn't connect with my goal. So it was good to learn that. And then, this is what I talked about last time, and I'll talk about this time and next time, less is more, right? Dial it back, dial it back, dial it back. Often what someone puts up as an online course could be 2 or 3 courses, right? And we need to chunk it in a way that's digestible and accessible. And so putting all of it out there from start to finish is overload for a learner. So looking at where is something where I started talking about one thing and ended up at another thing, that can be 2 lessons, right? And so the one lesson should just focus on the one objective. A module might have 3 or 4 objectives, and it might be a journey from start to finish, but a lesson should be really targeted and really focused. And so that less is more, dial it back has also been a good thing that I learned as I got started as an educator.
Cool. Well, anyone else? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that you could put little emojis.
That is cool. I like it.
How are you guys doing this? Anyway.
Okay, Sue, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
is it under reaction?
Go.
I got it.
Everybody's thumbs up. I'm sorry we didn't get to go back around through the slides, but my email address has popped up in the chat a few times, and I'm gonna put it up again. The slides will be available to you, the video will be posted, and please reach out. I'm happy to talk about this anytime.
That's so great. Thank you.
You're great, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys so much
Thanks for being here. I hope to see y'all next month for our October session, and bring a friend.
Don't you have something on Friday that's like a happy hour or something? Was that with you guys or somebody else that I saw?
It might be somebody else. This week on Thursday evening from 6 to 7, we're having our Big Ideas event. It's going to be really fun. We have 10 people local to Denton who have great ideas for the community that they want to share. It's everything from addressing landfill issues to, outdoor performance areas. And it's just a way for people to pitch their vision and get it heard. And one of the things that we're doing this year is asking each presenter, like, so what do you need? Like, what's your next step? Are you needing help with marketing or needing to find a space? So then that kind of helps whoever's listening, if they want to, if this is an idea they're interested in too, maybe we can make some connections and help bring them to fruition. So that's going to be on
your workspace, or is that still closed pretty much because of COVID?
So we're open to members right now. We are accepting new members. So, if anyone's interested in coming in for a tour, more than happy. I'll put my email in the chat as well.
The virtual tour.
There is a virtual tour.
I'm an alumni of Texas Women's University.
Cool.
So I don't know if that's how I found out about you guys, but you're just great. I wish you had been there when I was there.
Yeah, it's a great community. But yeah, if anyone's interested in anything about Stoke, you can email me or play around on our website. There's a lot of good info there, or the YouTube. So
that is great.
All right. So we're right at 11. So let's go ahead and close this out. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It was great.
Thank you, Julie, for giving us all this knowledge as usual.
You're welcome.
Okay. See y'all in a month or so.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.